In 1795, the quiet woods of Nova Scotia were disturbed by the footsteps of a curious young boy named Daniel McGinnis. What started as a simple walk through the trees became the beginning of one of the most enduring and mysterious treasure hunts in recorded history. He noticed something strange: a circular depression in the ground beneath the branch of an old oak tree, with signs of human activity around it. To a teenager fueled by stories of pirates and hidden riches, this wasn't just a patch of disturbed earth, it was a doorway to adventure. He returned with friends, and together they began digging, not knowing they were unlocking a mystery that would captivate minds and drain fortunes for centuries to come. As the boys dug into the soft soil, they made a discovery that seemed to confirm their wildest hopes. Just a few feet down, they hit a layer of carefully laid flagstones, flat stones that clearly didn't belong in that natural setting. Encouraged, they dug deeper, only to find something even stranger. Every 10 feet, they encountered platforms made of thick oak logs, stacked and buried as if placed there deliberately. This repeated several times, and the pattern was too intentional to be a coincidence. Each level whispered of an intelligence behind its construction, a purpose hidden beneath layers of earth and wood. The boys didn't reach treasure that day, but they unearthed something far more valuable to history: the origin of what would later be called the Money Pit. News of the discovery spread. Over the next decades, more and more treasure hunters arrived on Oak Island, each group bringing with them new tools, new theories, and greater determination. What they found only deepened the mystery. Explorers began to believe that whatever lay at the bottom had been deliberately buried, hidden beneath booby-trapped structures meant to protect it at all costs. In later excavations, diggers found a flat stone about 90 feet down, engraved with mysterious symbols that some claim translated to a warning. 40 feet below, 2 million pounds lie buried. Whether this translation is accurate or not, it added fuel to the growing fire of obsession that surrounded the pit. But what kind of treasure would require such extreme measures to conceal? Theories flourished. Some believed it was pirate gold, perhaps the spoils of Captain Kidd or Blackbeard, hidden away to avoid British authorities. Others suggested something even more dramatic: that the pit held ancient religious relics, such as the Ark of the Covenant or sacred manuscripts smuggled out of Europe by the secretive Knights Templar. Still others believed it was a royal cache, or even proof of Shakespeare's true identity, buried by secret societies. Each theory, no matter how wild, seemed to grow from a seed of possibility, nurtured by the island's stubborn refusal to give up its secrets. The soil of Oak Island soon became soaked not just with seawater, but with the sweat, tears, and dreams of those who sought the truth. The original depression in the ground was more than a hole. It was a symbol, an invitation. It drew people from across the world: adventurers, engineers, scholars, and thrill-seekers. They came hoping to be the one who would finally unravel the riddle. They brought drilling rigs, metal detectors, sonar equipment, and later, high-tech imaging devices. They started with the simplest, the smallest of exploration. They brought drilling rigs, metal detectors, sonar equipment, and later, high-tech. Some made small finds: fragments of chain, old tools, parchment pieces, but never the treasure itself. Still, the hope refused to die. That single key event in 1795 became a spark that lit a centuries-long pursuit. The depression beneath the hanging tree turned out to be more than just disturbed ground. It was the surface layer of a mystery that goes deeper than any drill could ever reach. The true treasure of Oak Island may not be gold or jewels, but the timeless pull of the unknown that began with the curiosity of a boy and a strange mark in the earth. Recounting, it proves how a simple moment, almost insignificant at first, can grow into a saga of human endurance, belief, and mystery. The Oak Island Money Pit remains one of the most perplexing, man-made underground structures ever discovered, and at the heart of its intrigue lies a pattern of construction that defies explanation. As explorers delved deeper into the island's earth, the pit revealed not just soil and rock, but engineering, intentional, intelligent design, layered with the unmistakable hand of purpose. Every 10 feet down the shaft, diggers encountered oak platforms placed meticulously, one atop another, suggesting a deliberate and secretive effort to bury something important. This wasn't random debris or the result of a natural process. These layers were consistent, evenly spaced, and clearly man-made. For those digging, each platform served as both a physical barrier and a psychological milestone. It meant someone, centuries ago, had gone to great lengths to hide something in a way that would resist time, weather, and human discovery. As the digging continued beyond the oak layers, more strange materials surfaced. Layers of charcoal, putty, and even coconut fiber were discovered, items that had no natural place on a cold Atlantic island far from any tropical shore. The coconut fibers in particular were astonishing. Thousands of miles from the nearest palm tree, these fibers hinted at global travel and planning far more complex than local legend or pirate folklore could account for. Who had the knowledge, manpower, and reason to import and bury such exotic materials so deeply underground? It pointed not just to a treasure, but to a secret worth protecting with extreme care and creativity. Perhaps even more baffling were the booby traps. As early treasure hunters reached the 90-foot mark, the pit suddenly flooded with seawater, rushing in through underground flood tunnels designed to protect whatever was buried. No matter how many times the water was pumped out, it would return, rendering the shaft nearly impossible to excavate. Over time, it became clear that the flooding wasn't a natural occurrence or a structural failure. It was a feature, a defensive mechanism built into the very foundation of the pit. It was engineering ahead of its time, using multiple flood shafts that channeled seawater from Smith's Cove to the pit through underground channels packed with coconut fibers and stone drains. This was a complex hydraulic system, built centuries before such technology should have existed, at least in this remote corner of the world. Modern teams of explorers and engineers, equipped with advanced equipment and detailed maps, have confirmed that these channels exist and continue to function. Efforts to block or bypass them have often failed. Each attempt to dig deeper, to reach the supposed treasure chamber, is met with another cleverly designed trap or setback. The deeper people go, the more the island seems to resist them. Collapse after collapse, flood after flood. Oak Island protects its secrets as if alive, reacting to human intrusion with indifference or punishment. Even when diggers tried to bypass the original pit by creating parallel shafts and tunnels, the same obstacles arose: collapses, water, and confusion. Some teams have even tried to freeze the ground to halt the flooding and excavate safely, but the costs have always outweighed the results. Despite the investment of millions of dollars and over 2 centuries of effort, the core of the money pit remains inaccessible, protected by a defense system no one has successfully disarmed. The parents bought an existing building on the edge of town. All of this suggests not only that someone buried something of value, but that they never wanted it found. The level of effort and ingenuity required to create a multi-layered, flood-protected pit speaks volumes. This wasn't a casual burial or a simple hiding spot. It was a vault, and not just any vault, but one so cleverly and dangerously built that modern science still struggles to defeat it. The oak platforms, the exotic materials, the flood tunnels, they all form a puzzle built by minds far ahead of their time. Each element is a piece of evidence, pointing not just to a hidden object, but to a buried purpose, an intention shrouded in layers of wood, earth, and mystery. The money pit isn't just a hole in the ground. It's a message carved into the earth by hands that knew what they were doing. And though no one has yet broken through to the final chamber, the very structure of the pit tells a story of caution, cleverness, and secrets that remain just out of reach. Among the many theories that swirl around Oak Island, perhaps none are as captivating as the ones surrounding what the buried treasure could actually be. It's not just gold and silver people imagine lying beneath the soil. It's a multitude of priceless possibilities. Over the years, historians, cryptographers, explorers, and adventurers have proposed countless ideas about what might be hidden at the bottom of the money pit. Theories range from the practical to the mythical, and each has its own compelling evidence or logic to support it. The allure of the unknown allows the imagination to run wild, and the list of what might be buried there is as endless as the determination of those who seek it. One of the most popular theories is that the treasure is the long-lost hoard of Captain Kidd, the infamous Scottish pirate. According to some legends, he buried a fortune in loot before being captured and executed. Oak Island, remote and difficult to access, would have been the perfect hiding place. The careful construction of the money pit could have been Kidd's way of protecting his treasure from thieves, rivals, or colonial authorities. In this version of the tale, the treasure hunters are simply latecomers to a centuries-old pirate game of deception and secrecy. It makes for a romantic image: pirates, maps, booby traps, and a hidden chest filled with gold doubloons glittering in the dark. But others believe something far more significant lies underground, something not tied to wealth, but to history itself. Some researchers are convinced that the Oak Island pit hides relics from the Knights Templar, a secretive medieval order that vanished mysteriously in the 14th century. According to this theory, the Templars, fleeing persecution in Europe, crossed the Atlantic with their most valuable possessions. These could include the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, or ancient religious manuscripts. The depth and complexity of the pit's engineering are seen by many as too advanced for pirates, but just within the capabilities of the Templars, who were known for their knowledge of architecture and sacred geometry. The idea that such relics may be hidden beneath a small island in Canada stirs the soul. If even a fraction of this theory is true, the implications for world history and religion would be staggering. There are also those who tie the mystery of Oak Island to literary history. A lesser-known but fascinating theory suggests that the pit contains original manuscripts written by William Shakespeare, or more controversially, that the true author of the plays was Francis Bacon, and the documents were hidden for safekeeping. Some even propose that Bacon, who was involved with secret societies and had knowledge of cipher systems, was behind the construction of the pit and encoded messages found on the inscribed stone allegedly discovered at the 90-foot level. These messages are believed by some to be part of a larger code, pointing to a literary and philosophical treasure rather than a monetary one. The suggestion that Oak Island hides the missing pieces of English literature challenges traditional views of authorship and opens an entirely different path of curiosity. Beyond pirates, knights, and playwrights, other theories suggest the involvement of the British Crown, the Freemasons, and even ancient civilizations. Some believe the pit could contain lost Aztec or Incan artifacts smuggled away during colonial plundering. Others tie the site to the lost city of Atlantis or a remnant of the Library of Alexandria. It seems far-fetched, yet the lack of a definitive answer keeps the door open to all possibilities. Every new artifact found, whether it's a piece of metal, bone, or parchment, fuels another round of speculation and keeps the legend alive. Each theory, no matter how grounded or fantastic, has one thing in common: the belief that what lies beneath Oak Island is not just valuable in wealth, but in meaning. The treasure, whatever form it takes, is thought to be something worth hiding with great care and intention. The meticulous traps, layered tunnels, and global connections all point to something more than mere riches. They point to a secret so powerful, so important, that it had to be buried, protected, and almost erased from memory. And with every passing year, as more searchers take up the cause, the question of what that secret might be only grows louder. As excavators dug deeper into the Oak Island money pit and surrounding areas, they began discovering more than just layers of wood and stone. Strange artifacts and materials started appearing, fragments that did not belong in a remote, uninhabited part of Nova Scotia. These discoveries were not just curious oddities. They were clues that added depth to the mystery and challenged all logical explanations. Among the most striking finds were bits of parchment paper found deep underground. These weren't scattered loosely in the soil. They appeared preserved within the damp, compact earth at levels far below the surface. One of the fragments, when examined, seemed to have letters written in faded ink, possibly in Latin or an old script. It was the kind of discovery that suggested the presence of valuable documents or even ancient texts once stored below. Then came the discovery of coconut fibers buried in strategic layers within the island. This particular find astonished researchers because coconut trees do not grow in Canada. These fibers are commonly found in tropical climates, thousands of miles away. Yet here they were, packed underground and interwoven into layers believed to be part of a filtration system for one of the island's infamous flood tunnels. Their presence confirmed the involvement of a party with access to foreign materials and long-distance travel. Perhaps seafarers, perhaps explorers of great wealth and purpose. These fibers weren't placed there by accident. They were chosen for their durability and water-filtering properties. And they had been packed deliberately as part of an engineered trap meant to keep the pit safe from intrusion. It meant to keep the pit safe from intrusion. Further down in other shafts, searchers uncovered metal links that resembled pieces of an ancient gold chain. Others claimed to have unearthed items made of wrought iron, bone, and even stone tools that didn't match the time period of early Canadian settlers. The presence of these items led to broader speculation about who had been on the island centuries before documented history suggests. If pirates had been there, why would they use such exotic and meticulously designed methods to protect simple treasure? If monks or Templars had arrived, how did they transport such items across the Atlantic without leaving records? Every artifact raised new questions and left behind more ambiguity than clarity. Perhaps one of the most controversial discoveries was the so-called 90-foot stone, an inscribed slab reportedly found at the depth of 90 feet inside the original money pit. While the original stone has since vanished, early accounts described it as bearing a cryptic code of symbols that many tried to translate. Some believe the message warned of treasure buried 40 feet below. Others think it was part of a complex cipher, pointing to a much larger mystery. Whether the translation is accurate, or even if the stone existed as described, it became a part of Oak Island lore and added to the belief that the buried contents were not just hidden, but meant to be protected by knowledge. Esoteric, secret knowledge, accessible only to those who understood the code. The deeper explorers went, the more they encountered not just objects but deliberate systems, structures meant to deceive and slow down, tunnels that led nowhere, shafts that collapsed upon excavation, rocks arranged in triangular patterns. One particular find, a stone triangle on the south shore of the island, appeared to point directly to the money pit from over 200 feet away. If true, this alignment showed a level of surveying precision that shouldn't have been possible at the time of its supposed construction. Elsewhere, a large stone cross formation was discovered, consisting of 5 large boulders forming a perfect Christian cross. Were these signs left behind as a spiritual marker? A warning? Or a map? Each of these strange discoveries, coconut fibers, foreign parchment, coated stones, engineered tunnels, and mysterious symbols, suggested a pattern. They weren't left behind by accident. They were carefully chosen, intentionally placed, and strategically buried. Whoever was responsible for them wanted to communicate something, or prevent something from being uncovered too easily. These weren't just the remnants of someone hiding a box of jewels. They were signs of a much grander plan, a deeply layered puzzle wrapped in secrecy and time. The presence of these out-of-place items fuels the belief that the Oak Island mystery is more than folklore. It is a story written in hidden artifacts and buried knowledge, waiting patiently for someone to read between the layers. As the pursuit of the Oak Island treasure intensified over the decades, what became increasingly clear was that this wasn't just a simple dig for buried riches. It was a battle against a force of nature that had been weaponized. The deeper the explorers went, the more aggressively the island seemed to fight back. The most chilling and persistent challenge came in the form of water, flooding the pit, collapsing shafts, and washing away progress. But this wasn't ordinary groundwater or random flooding. This was a cleverly designed trap, a defensive system engineered with precision and purpose, meant to stop anyone from reaching the pit's depths. The idea that someone in the distant past could create such an intricate, self-protecting system was both astonishing and terrifying. The first known instance of this trap activating came in the early 1800s, when a company known as the Unsolved Company was digging the original money pit. They had reached what they believed to be the 90-foot level, where they encountered the inscribed stone and anticipated they were closing in on the treasure. Suddenly and without warning, the pit filled with water overnight, rising so quickly and persistently that all attempts to bail it out failed. But it was as if a hidden valve had been opened, unleashing the Atlantic Ocean itself into the shaft. Panic and confusion spread as they realized this wasn't an accident or structural flaw. It was deliberate. The pit had been designed to protect its contents by flooding itself if disturbed. Later investigations confirmed what early diggers feared. Multiple flood tunnels existed, stretching from the money pit to Smith's Cove, over 500 feet away. These tunnels had been expertly constructed and disguised, complete with stone-lined channels and layers of coconut fiber that acted as filters to keep the water flow steady and uninterrupted. These were not crude ditches dug in desperation. They were part of a highly engineered network, built long before modern equipment existed. The idea that someone could not only design, but also successfully construct such an advanced system in a remote part of Nova Scotia centuries ago defies conventional historical understanding. Teams who tried to reach the bottom of the pit often met with failure. They used pumps to remove the water, but it kept coming back. When they tried to dig secondary shafts to bypass the flooding, the new tunnels would either fill with water or collapse entirely. Some even attempted to dam the ocean and cut off the source of the water, at enormous expense, only to see their work washed away by storms and persistent leaks. Every clever solution was countered by the island's intricate defense. It became a war of attrition, one that drained fortunes and ended careers. In more recent years, modern technology has offered more insight into how sophisticated the booby traps truly are. Sonar scanning, core drilling, and seismic testing have revealed the presence of underground voids, stone box drains, artificial flood barriers, and potentially even chambers that could contain unknown materials. Yet even with this advanced information, accessing the depths without triggering the flood system remains nearly impossible. Water continues to be the island's fiercest guardian. Even when the source of the flooding was believed to have been identified, attempts to plug the tunnels failed or redirected the water to other shafts. It's as if the entire island is part of a living, breathing trap that adapts to interference. The persistence of the flooding trap has led some to believe that it was not merely built to guard treasure, but to ensure that what lies beneath Oak Island never sees the light of day again. The level of intelligence, labor, and resource investment required to create such a system points to something far more valuable than gold. It suggests an intention not just to protect, but to permanently seal away whatever was hidden. It could have been knowledge, artifacts, or relics, something with consequences too great for exposure. The trap is not just physical, it is psychological. Each new attempt to conquer the island renews hope, and reawakens defeat. It challenges the ego of modern science, the determination of explorers, and the limits of patience. The more technology advances, the more one realizes that the creators of this pit were already thinking centuries ahead. They didn't just bury something, they left behind a challenge to time itself. The Oak Island flooding mechanism is not a flaw to be fixed. It is the warning, the weapon, and the whisper. Only those worthy, or perhaps no one at all, shall uncover the truth. For more than 200 years, Oak Island has called to treasure hunters from around the globe, and even as one failure follows another, the search never truly stops. People come and go, some empty-handed, some bankrupt, some broken, but the quest continues. Generations pass, but the obsession stays alive, passed down like a torch in the dark. It's not just the promise of wealth that keeps drawing people in. It's the pull of the mystery itself, the itch to uncover the truth, the deep human need to solve what others could not. The island's silence has become a siren song, and no amount of danger, debt, or disappointment has been enough to silence it. From early excavation efforts in the 1800s to high-tech digs in the 21st century, each new group of explorers arrives full of hope. They bring new ideas, strategies, and tools, determined to finally achieve what so many before them have failed to do. Some have arrived with simple picks and shovels. Others came with drills, cranes, sonar equipment, and ground-penetrating radar. Some of the most sophisticated technology available has been employed on Oak Island, and yet the core of the mystery remains just beyond reach. The island gives hints, clues, partial answers, but never the full truth. Every artifact found, every tunnel mapped, every void detected, each of them sparks new theories and keeps the search alive. There's a kind of hypnotic grip the island holds over those who spend time there. Many arrive thinking they're simply investigating a mystery, but before long they find themselves emotionally and psychologically entangled. It's more than a dig site. It becomes a life's purpose. Some treasure hunters have devoted their entire lives to the pursuit, sacrificing personal wealth, relationships, and well-being for the mere chance of being the one to crack the code. It becomes something spiritual, something larger than life. Their failure does not discourage the next wave. It only strengthens their resolve to continue. Entire families have become part of the story. The Restall family, for example, came to Oak Island in the 1950s full of enthusiasm and belief, only to suffer tragedy when 4 men, including Robert Restall himself, died from gas inhalation while working in a shaft. Even death hasn't scared away those who come after. That single incident could have been enough to end the search altogether, but instead, it became a dark chapter in a much larger narrative, one that only seemed to deepen the legend. The island became more than just a place to find treasure. It became sacred ground for the dreamers, the thinkers, the relentless. Today, the Lagunar brothers represent one of the most well-known modern efforts to solve the mystery. Their journey, chronicled on television, has brought new attention and new energy to Oak Island. But even with nearly unlimited resources and the most cutting-edge technology, they too face the same walls that stopped those before them. They uncover artifacts, buttons, coins, fragments of manuscripts, and wooden structures far underground, but the ultimate discovery remains hidden. Their struggle, documented for the world to see, reflects the universal human drive to keep pushing forward, even when the odds seem insurmountable. What's perhaps most astonishing is how the lack of results has never diminished the public's fascination. If anything, it increases it. Oak Island has become a symbol of something greater than a treasure hunt. It stands for obsession, determination, legacy, and mystery. The more the island resists, the more people want to conquer it. And those who walk away empty-handed don't kill the legend, they expanded. Each story of failure becomes another thread in the massive tapestry of the island's history, each attempt adding fuel to the ever-burning fire. The constant exploration has also turned the island into a living museum. Every piece of wood, metal, or stone that's unearthed is cataloged, analyzed, and theorized about. Oak Island is now one of the most studied pieces of land in the world, with its history continuously rewritten, reimagined, and investigated. Yet with all that effort, with all the thousands of hours poured into excavation, documentation, and analysis, the end goal still hovers just out of reach. And still, they dig. Still, they come. Every new discovery, no matter how small, is treated as a sign that the ultimate breakthrough is near. It might be the next hole, the next scan, the next artifact. That unshakable belief, passed down through generations of searchers, is what keeps Oak Island alive in the minds of millions. It's no longer just about the treasure. It's about being part of the story, part of the fight, part of the legend that refuses to die. The Oak Island mystery has become far more than an archaeological puzzle or a treasure hunt. It is a deep psychological mirror of human nature itself. The island, silent and unmoving, has a strange way of reflecting back our desires, obsessions, and deepest questions. Why do people continue to search, century after century, pouring their lives, fortunes, and time into a place that refuses to surrender its secrets? It's not simply about discovering gold or lost relics. It's about something more primal. The desire to challenge the unknown, to defy limits, and to uncover truth buried beneath layers of time and earth. There is something about a hidden secret that awakens the explorer within us. Throughout history, human beings have always been driven by the need to understand what lies beyond the visible. Whether it was crossing oceans, scaling mountains, or exploring space, the drive to discover has always been stronger than the fear of failure. Oak Island represents that same drive, but condensed into a single maddening location. It is the embodiment of a mystery that seems solvable, yet continually slips through the fingers of even the most determined searchers. That paradox only strengthens its pull. The harder it becomes to solve, the more people feel compelled to try. The island doesn't push them away. It invites them in, only to remind them that mystery has its own power. For many, Oak Island becomes a personal challenge. It tests belief systems, mental endurance, and emotional resolve. Some arrive thinking they're simply pursuing a historical curiosity, but they quickly find themselves swallowed into something larger. It doesn't take long before Oak Island becomes not just a place, but a symbol of meaning. The pit, the tunnels, the strange stones, they all take on mythic dimensions, turning what began as a physical search into a spiritual and philosophical journey. Every discovery becomes a message, every dead end becomes a lesson in humility. The island is relentless, and in its silence, it forces introspection. Those who dig in its soil also dig into themselves, questioning how far they're willing to go and what they're truly searching for. This deep emotional entanglement is why people continue to risk so much for so little. The stakes are not always financial. They're personal. The island becomes a test of one's courage, intelligence, and willpower. It becomes a place to prove oneself, not just to the world, but to one's own soul. There's a sense that solving the Oak Island mystery would not just be a historical accomplishment, but a validation of belief, effort, and destiny. People want to be the one who succeeds where all others have failed, not only to win treasure, but to rewrite the story of human tenacity. The allure is intensified by the fact that the island feels intelligent. Its traps, hidden tunnels, and misdirections are so intricately designed that they appear to respond to intrusion. The more people dig, the more complicated things become. New voids are detected, false leads emerge, and mysterious alignments are discovered that raise more questions than answers. It creates the impression that someone long ago knew exactly what they were doing, building a puzzle not just of wood and stone, but of time and perception. That level of design demands respect. It convinces people that whatever lies at the bottom must be extraordinary, because no one would go to such lengths to bury something ordinary. Oak Island also reflects the universal human fear of forgetting. If something important lies buried there, whether it's treasure, knowledge, or sacred artifacts, then allowing it to remain hidden would mean losing a piece of our collective story. The search becomes a fight against historical amnesia, a struggle to bring light to what the past tried to conceal. In that sense, the dig is not just about what's buried, it's about remembrance, about honoring those who came before and preserving what they left behind. The island's mystery touches something timeless. It whispers to the child in us, who once dreamed of maps and hidden chests. It speaks to the adult who seeks purpose, legacy, and impact. And it connects all who come to it in a shared experience of hope, disappointment, and wonder. The deeper one becomes involved with Oak Island, the clearer it becomes that the island doesn't just hold secrets, it reveals them in the hearts of those who search. Oak Island has become much more than a patch of land surrounded by sea. It has transformed into a living legend, a modern myth that continues to evolve with each passing generation. What began as a simple tale of a strange hole in the ground has grown into an intricate web of history, adventure, speculation, and obsession. The story has taken on a life of its own, fueled not by confirmed discoveries, but by the powerful hunger for meaning, purpose, and mystery. The legend no longer depends solely on the promise of treasure. It thrives because people need it to exist. It stands as a symbol of possibility in a world increasingly dominated by explanation and certainty. The idea that something is still hidden, just waiting to be found, keeps the fire burning. That sense of potential, of being on the verge of a life-changing breakthrough, is what keeps people returning. The island's refusal to reveal its secrets only adds to its mystique. Every artifact found, every shaft dug, every sonar scan revealing a void beneath the surface adds another layer to the tale. Even when those discoveries don't lead to the treasure itself, they deepen the narrative. The mystery builds on itself, growing more fascinating with every twist, dead end, or surprise. It's like a story that refuses to end, expanding into something too big to ignore. Television series, books, documentaries, and historical research have all played a role in amplifying Oak Island's legend. It has become a cultural phenomenon, reaching audiences who have never stepped foot in Nova Scotia, yet feel personally invested in the outcome. Viewers tune in season after season, not necessarily to see gold pulled from the ground, but to be part of the journey, the emotion, the hope. Oak Island has become an epic in real time, unfolding before our eyes with every dig and every new theory. The island allows us to become explorers from a distance, dreamers tethered to a single, unsolved riddle that defies logic but not belief. This ongoing fascination also connects people across time. The same island that captured the attention of a young boy in 1795 now draws millions of viewers, amateur historians, and professional archaeologists. The legend links past and present in a way few stories can. Generations of searchers have come and gone, leaving behind more than just excavation records. They've added chapters to the legend itself, their efforts, their failures, their sacrifices. They all become part of the larger tale, turning the island into something greater than its geography. It becomes a legacy of human effort, and each person who joins the hunt becomes part of that legacy, whether or not they ever find a single coin. What makes Oak Island's legend so enduring is its flexibility. It doesn't offer a single, fixed narrative. Instead, it invites endless interpretations. One person may see a pirate's treasure, another sees religious relics, and another still believes in hidden knowledge or royal secrets. The lack of a definitive answer is not a weakness, it's a strength. It allows each new mind to bring its own ideas, its own imagination into the story. The island doesn't demand agreement, it thrives on disagreement. The more theories there are, the more alive the legend becomes. It feeds on mystery and multiplies through speculation. Even the landscape itself has become iconic. The triangular swamp, the stone cross, the beach that hides the flood tunnel systems. Each part of the island feels like a clue, part of a larger coded message left behind. These features are more than geological quirks. They're sacred landmarks in the treasure map of the mind. Visitors walk the ground with reverence, speaking not just of artifacts and excavation plans, but of fate, prophecy, and destiny. The physical place is infused with mythic power, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary through the weight of belief. In this way, Oak Island has transcended its own reality. Whether or not there is actual treasure hidden beneath the earth, the island has already delivered something far more powerful. A global tale that captures the human condition. It speaks to our longing for adventure, our refusal to give up, and our desire to uncover truths that the world may have forgotten. The legend of Oak Island doesn't need an ending to matter. It continues to live, breathe, and evolve through the hearts of those who believe, through every shovel in the ground and every story told. The legend is the treasure, and the world is richer for it.